Without recognizing and controlling fear, the chances of you, your team, and your company changing to meet the challenges of today are less than your chance to win the lottery.
And what we're going to explore in the next couple of hours is your personal relationship with fear and what it does to you as an individual, how that translates into how you interact with your staff and the people around you, and ultimately, since you're responsible for the direction of your company, how your relationship with fear ultimately determines the direction of the company. So one of the key things to understand here is, what is fear? What does it do and where does it go?
Yeah, and I think I just want to sort of introduce that in the context of what Neuro Business Group does. Neuro Business Group is actually a group of some of the leading coaches in the world, and Georgia Karsanis is within that group. And this particular group of people are actually focused on social intelligence variables. And I'm sure all of you, being CEOs, know what it's like to talk about things like social intelligence when you have important money matters at hand. But one of the things that we've recognized is that when we talk about social intelligence, we're really talking about variables like trust and empathy and authenticity and alignment. So the topic for today is fearless leadership, moving from playing not to lose to playing to win. And I'd like you to notice that the way in which we've written this title is that we've emphasized and increased the font size of playing to win. And you'll come to understand later on what impact we wanted to have on your unconscious by constructing the title in this way. In order to try to understand some of how this is, how fear impacts your organization, let's go to the next polling question, which is, do you believe that most of your employees will begin a job search in the next 3 months? So do you think, just so we can get a sense in the audience of what's going on in your own companies, and obviously there are no right or wrong here, just answer honestly, do you think in the next 3 months, people in your organization are going to be looking for a new job? So let's start now. That's interesting. So obviously you have a sense of confidence about what you feel is going on in the organization in terms of what's going on with your employees. Only 17% of people feel that their employees are going to be leaving or looking for a job in the next 3 months. And 83% of people in this audience think that their employees are not going to be looking for a job in the next 3 months. Well, let's look at what the statistics say. Next slide, please. Nearly 80%, like all of you, do not believe that their employees will begin a search, while nearly 60% of employees intend to intensify their job search in the next 3 months. Okay. So it's a very representative audience that you can use. And this is one strategy. The mnemonic is, this is the recourse strategy. And it's just to prime your brain to think, well, let's see, things are going on. I'm not figuring out the solution. Oh, I remember the recourse strategy because it's all re. And the mnemonic is SAFE, F. S is for solve, resolve conflicting priorities. What's going on that's conflicting, and how can I resolve this? 2, reassess. Let me not catastrophize. Oh my God, this is going to destroy our company. Let me step back, stabilize the conflict center so I can decrease the activation in the amygdala. Refocus on the positive. What's going on that's good in the company? How do you re-engage the company? I mean, clearly from the question on whether you think people are going to be looking for a new job or not, there needs to be some greater form of engagement. Well, is this just a soft term? The reality is that it's not, because experiments have shown that when people are socially excluded in a company, it actually increases the conflict center activation. So let's look at the first insight, which is that fear activates the unconscious brain, even if you do not feel it. So if we move on to the next construct, which is that stress is habit forming because it stimulates long-term memory, the hippocampus, and it turns off the thinking brain. The third construct then is that because of mirror neurons, we really need to be aware, self-aware, so that we ourselves can always be representing what we actually feel. Because a lot of times you don't represent what you feel. A lot of times you're representing, a lot of group theory has shown that by the end of the meeting, you might be really happy because there's some kind of consensus, but you may not actually have gotten what you wanted. It happens in political voting. It happens in a lot of different situations. And then the last insight is that playing not to lose confuses the brain. It actually sets up, it basically, under conditions of stress, it turns on your unconscious brain, and it turns off your conscious brain.